Hi, this is Joe Rabil from Rabil Stock Research with your Daily 5 today. For the past 30 years, I have provided stock research and consulting to institutional money managers. During that time, the process I have used is to go through thousands of charts each week to help me identify which stocks and sectors are setting up, the best upside potential or showing technical deterioration. I also use MACD and ADX in multiple timeframes to help improve timing and lower risk on investments. Let's get started on our Daily 5. I'm going to start with a different chart. I wanted to pull up the agricultural index in the commodity section. And I thought this is something I've been watching for a while because I keep track of one of the reports I do each month is a report on commodities. And I have noticed improvement in wheat and soybeans. And this, I think, gives a really good representation, this GKX, of what is happening. And if you notice, again, I'm a big ADX guy. I use ADX in conjunction with the MACD. And if you notice, the MACD line starting in 2016 dropped down and got really low and stayed low for several years, really, and it's still below 25. I have this horizontal line going across at 25. And if you notice, both the green DI, the red DI, and the ADX line are all below 25. And we've had this long sideways period, and now it's starting to look like it's trying to emerge out of this. So I view this as being pretty important to recognize. And if you notice on the weekly chart on the right, I've got a pretty strong reading showing 46 on the ADX now on the weekly chart, showing improved momentum on the shorter time frame, while the longer term time frame has this big base. So something I'm always on the lookout for, and I think this has some implications for 2021. So I thought I would bring this up because this is a big picture pattern. Let's go to the first. I'm going to highlight some charts now. Let's go to GMED, Globus Medical. Again, on a monthly chart on the left, I've got this big move that took place and peaked out in the middle of 2018, and it's really just been going sideways after that strong move. And if you notice the ADX reading that we had prior to the start of this sideways or this correction, this sideways consolidation pattern, it was very, very high. Got up over 50, actually probably closer to 60. And since that time, it's just been working its way back down and has now worked down towards a lower ADX reading, while the MACD has also worked its way back down closer to the zero line. What I find attractive about this is that it's worked sideways, so the price has just been more of a sideways pattern, while the indicators have kind of worked their overbought condition down to neutral. And then if we go and look at the low ADX pattern on the weekly chart, and now we're starting to break out through this 60 level, which has been a key level to watch. So I just thought this was an important pattern. Again, looking at the two time frames, the higher time frame to give us an idea of what type of upside we potentially have, and then the lower time frame to show that there's improving momentum signs and characteristics. Let's go to our next chart, ANET, Arista Networks. Again, I'm going to look at a monthly on the left and a weekly on the right, and the same thing has taken place. If you notice, the MACD lines were very overbought in 2018, and they have worked their way back down to the zero line. And as of this past month, we had a crossover of the signal line right at the zero level. And then the ADX actually reached a extreme peak, showing extreme strength on this move to the upside. And as we've worked our way back and consolidated, the ADX again has worked its way down to a lower level. When I see a huge reading like this prior to a corrective long decline, I'm sort of the opinion that unless there's a lot of sellers that show up on the decline phase, we should expect another leg up on this type of a pattern. And then again, if we go to the lower time frame weekly, we've got this low ADX pattern that's been developing, and then all of a sudden green DI. Green DI represents the strength of the buyers, and we show a really nice breakout in green, which confirms the price action with this big green bar followed by this light consolidation pattern. So yeah, we might dip down a little bit. Maybe it wants to pull back a little bit, but I would view that as an opportunity here. Let's go to our next chart of the day, HTHT. And again, I'm looking at a monthly and a weekly. Now, I have been bringing up a lot of longer term charts. I will be showing more trades in future, your daily fives. I'll bring up daily and hourly or potentially weekly daily setups just to show you how I use the two time frames together. But right now, I'm coming across enough patterns, both big, large cap and small cap, that I think it's worth continuing to identify these and show these to you guys. So a same type of pattern. We have a really strong move into a peak into 2018, and then we've worked sideways for a couple years. The ADX and the MACD pattern are very similar. We've worked our way down from an overbought level on a MACD basis, and the ADX reached an extreme and has worked its way back down. And despite the fact that we went through this extensive corrective pattern, green DI stayed above red throughout the entire period. And I view that as being a pretty bullish sign, or a sign that we should expect more bullish continuation. And then again, if we go to the weekly chart, low ADX pattern, and now all of a sudden we're breaking out of this low ADX condition with pretty good upside and a gap. So I find that also to be a very attractive pattern. Again, we're always trying to look for, what I'm doing on a long-term basis or looking at the higher time frame monthly chart, I'm either looking for extreme strength prior to a pullback, or I want a low ADX condition, something that has been low for a very, very long time and has been dormant and it basically is starting to come back to life. So if either of those conditions are in place, I'm going to go down to a weekly chart and try and identify, where if strength starts to come in. Let's look at our last chart of the day. CLNE, Clean Energy Fuels. And, if we look at what's taken place here, we had this long sideways period really starting from 2016. This is one of those patterns where the higher time frame monthly is a low ADX pattern, has been low for several years. And now all of a sudden we're finally starting to emerge out of this basing area with pretty good strength. That was a really strong monthly bar. Lots of green, closed near the high of the bar. And green DI was able to break out above all these prior peaks in red and green for that matter. And if you notice, the ADX line is also starting to tick higher. And then if we go to the weekly chart, we have a very strong reading showing up. And we're always going to see improved ADX strength on a lower time frame prior to it showing up on the higher time frame. So it allows us to anticipate the strength that could develop on the bigger picture by using the smaller time frame or the shorter time frame, in this case a weekly chart. We could certainly go down to a daily chart at this point if we wanted, and look for a pullback on the daily chart. Obviously, really good strength showing up on an ADX basis. So that is your daily 5 for this week. I hope you enjoyed this segment. You can contact me through LinkedIn or find my research on rabilstockresearch.com. Also, I do have a YouTube channel called Invest Like a Pro, which teaches you how to trade in multiple time frames. Many of the videos expand on the concepts in my book. Have a great trading day, and I will see you next time.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're going to bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.